Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I've got you now. All right. Julz Tocker, everybody. Good to see you.
Okay, cool. Good. I can see you too. I couldn't even see you before. Sorry.
Ah.
You know what's going on. Okay, so
Take me back. So
my family are quite full-on rugby family. My dad's a coach. My brother-in-law. My brother-in-law also played for England and
oh wow,
Lions and yeah, and I lived with them in London when I moved to London to dance and stuff. But I was a 12-year-old kid and was going to actually do rock and roll. My mum knew a rock and roll place to go to, and I'd seen dancing on TV, and I was like, oh, I think I want to give that a go. And long story short, here I am now.
Wow.
It was like a secret. Like, we didn't say anything to anyone for like quite a while. We kept it quite quiet. And then slowly I started doing more competitions and then traveling and stuff. So we had to tell Dad.
So he was in Japan, right? Where was he at
he was
this
back
point?
And forth. He was back and forth. So it was easy to keep that secret.
Yeah.
And then slowly, like, my brother and my sister and we started telling people. And just that was that.
That is a huge difference going from rugby, which is such a, tough, violent kind of game, isn't it? The ground to the ears and.
Yeah, and I kept playing too for years. Like, I kept playing as long as I could. So I played rugby, I ran, I was in athletics, and I did a lot of sport a lot. And then slowly I just had to drop off, like drop basketball, drop this off, drop that off, slowly. Yeah. And then just by the end of it, I was just focusing on dancing. And I became a national junior champion, and then a youth champion. And then I left and moved to Australia at 16, and then became an Australian champion, and then moved to England and blah blah blah. So slowly just built up and took over.
Amazing. Now, when you moved to England, how old were you at that point? And were you going to England to train or compete?
Yeah, I worked over there. I moved over there to basically back in that day.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. God, I'm getting old now. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, no, you're not. You're young.
England,
you can't say that.
England is where the mecca of ballroom and Latin dance was. Then all the coaches were based out of London. The biggest competitions were in Blackpool. Right? Yeah. Blackpool was in Bournemouth, and also the International, which is at Albert Hall. So we had 3 major competitions in the year, and that's not why everyone was based there, but we all traveled there a lot to compete and learn from all the coaches. So I moved there at 19, I think I was, 19, and started slowly trying to train with the world's best coaches. It takes a while to get into them because they're also booked, and and then I started training with some like the world's best, and slowly just trained my butt off and got better and better and better and worked my way through. So that's where now everyone's spread out a bit. Now it's a little bit more like a lot of them have come to America, and some are still in London, but mainly a lot are in America. And the American dancing world is massive. It's a huge business here. It's awesome. It's really cool. Yeah,
and Dancing with the Stars probably really helped that as well.
Yeah, massive. And also around the world, like it's in 40-something countries. Like it's one of the biggest franchises that's going. So definitely helps. Definitely helps.
Oh my gosh, yeah. How long did you stay in England for? And where did you go after that?
19, 20, 21, 22, 23, like 5 years maybe.
Wow.
While I lived in England, I moved to Italy for a year. I danced with a girl over there, or 2 girls from there actually. Naples and in Bologna, and that's how I learned Italian, because I had to, because they didn't speak freaking English. So
of course.
I learned Napolitano, which is probably the worst Italian you could learn, but I learned that. I lived there for a while, and that was really cool. That's how I got into my coffee. I love coffee now because of that. Never touched it before. How old was I when I'm in the 20? Yeah, never touched coffee before then, and then got hooked. And then I moved to. I was based in London, but I had a client in Singapore. So I used to fly to Singapore and train her for about a month, and then we'll go back to London, and then I'll train with my dance partner. She'll come back and forth as well. So we actually kind of jumped, because then we started dancing representing Australia. My dance partner at the end of my competitive career was an Australian called Annalisa Zornetti, and we built a career quite well together and trained very hard and traveled a lot. So we'd go from London to Singapore, then she would go to Australia, and her mum is a dance teacher, has a school there. She'll teach in Australia, I'll teach in Singapore, then she'll come back and forth, and then we'll go back to London and train with our coaches and do the competitions. And that would be our year. So we're just like country
Oh
hop.
my God.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it's kind of normal in our dance world. That's kind of what we do. That's kind of what everyone does. Like in Singapore and Hong Kong, there's a lot of business over there for us. Yeah.
Really? I had no idea Hong Kong was so big with ballroom dancing.
Yeah, it's very like high society.
Yeah.
Dance because it's I don't know that the high society of there, it's I don't know that they love it, and they like to be like kind of be exclusive and have something like I had a contract with one client, so like I just taught her. That's all I could teach. I couldn't teach anyone else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I've always been intrigued with ballroom dancing. I love ballroom dancing, but having been a dancer, I didn't train in that. But do you train in ballet as well and other styles, you know, so you can do all round and tap dancing as well? Or is it very strict?
When I was living in London, I started to dabble in like a little bit of other stuff, but I never seriously did any other style, like full on.
Yeah.
I took class at Pineapple Studios, you know.
Pineapple?
Yeah, I went down to Pineapple and looked
yes.
like ballet and jazz and the hip hop and the contemporary and this and that, just to give me ideas. I love to choreograph, so I used to get some ideas from classes and just listen to different or learn technique and you know bits and pieces. But we don't do too much. Sometimes you know flamenco is a very big style in our world. You know, paso doble. So we'll go and take class and get ideas from other things like that. But I unfortunately didn't do anything else, and I really wish I did. But from New Zealand and Wellington, trying to be in a ballroom dance class was enough for my mind. Imagine trying to get to a ballet class at that time.
Was it not? It wasn't happening.
It would have taken me away.
Yeah. How was it in school for you though, growing up? Because you were dancing. How old were you when you started as well? Were you like, was it 12 when you saw that
13,
TV show?
Yeah, around that. Yeah.
That's quite late to start, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is for a dancer. Yeah, especially my friends and my like Russian like champions friends, like they started like 4 or 3 or like you know really young. But I started around 12, 13, and you know I just got into college or high school over there, and I had like full face of pimples and I had braces, and, like ridiculous pubic looking curly hair. Like I was a walking target basically. And I had, you know, everyone gets bullied and stuff. So, you know, we had that all going on. And then when people found out about the dancing, it was a whole thing, you know, dealing with that. And I also tour in New Zealand and speak to schools and kids and about mental health and bullying and all that stuff. Because, you know, I've been through it. A lot of people have been through it. But New Zealand also has one of the highest suicide rates in the world. We've actually just come down recently, which is freaking amazing. So, so we're all been on a big, massive mission to get that down and talk to kids and teenagers and you know and go through that with them. And it's slowly happening, which is fantastic. And that's one thing this year I'm really gutted. I had a tour booked and planned. I was going to do like 15 cities and 30 schools, and it unfortunately was cancelled. You know.
I know. I mean, it's such a beautiful.
I'll do it next year. We'll do it next year. I'll be back. Yeah.
You have Akira Ora from Christchurch, New Zealand, calling in here, which is great.
Oh, hello.
How lovely is that?
Gianna.
Is that one of your dancers?
What's that?
Is that one of your dancers?
I don't know. I can't see the thing on my phone.
Ah, okay. Well, how lovely. Welcome, New Zealand.
Yeah, welcome, New Zealand.
Yeah, we'll love it. Yeah, oh my God, I can imagine as a kid growing up, and I just, you know, the bullying that you would have had maybe as a dancer, which is so sad. But I mean, look at you now. You're like, when you dance, you're very much like Gene Kelly, because you have that masculinity of an athlete when you dance, which is so beautiful and sexy. And you turn around and go, look at me now, to those people that were mean to you.
I think that, thank you. I think, you know, going home and being a judge on the show over there, you know, it was a little bit like I wanted to show that fact that like you know, you could do it. You know, a kid from Karori, New Zealand, Wellington, came from, you know, started from scratch, from nowhere, and could push and get through, and you know, and make something from nothing. You know what I mean? Because I think it's back at home, you know, we're so far away from everything, and it's very sometimes closed-minded, I feel. And I really wanted to show that and tell people and share my stories and help these kids and teenagers to dream and think big and, you know, and push themselves. And even if people naysayers, I mean, I left college at 16. I moved to Australia at like 16 or whatever, and you know, I even had principals and teachers that like, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think this is a good idea. Like, you shouldn't be leaving. I had to get them all to sign a piece of paper before I leave. Every teacher had to sign not a release form, but I don't know, sign me out or something. And yeah. I remember that, and I was just like, you have no idea what my plans are. You don't even know what I do. Like, how dare you give me advice on something that you have no idea what I'm doing, you know?
I love that.
And so I also speak about that a bit too, about like, you've got to be really careful who you listen to with advice, you know? And some people just are scared, you know what I mean? Like, some people are just scared because they never took the chances or opportunities. So they're scared for you. I think the teachers were just scared for me because they were like, oh, what if it doesn't happen? Well, we'll never know if I don't go.
Well, what if it does? Yeah.
Exactly.
And a lot of jealousy and a lot of, you know, that you have the courage to pack your suitcases and go on this adventure. You know, a lot of it's like the tall poppy syndrome. People want to knock you down. It is
massive tall poppy syndrome.
How dare you have that confidence?
Yeah, we have a massive problem with that in New Zealand for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a New Zealand thing. It's a British thing. It's not so much out here in America, don't you think?
Oh no, I wish it could be a little bit more like, you know, supportive. Like here, a little bit, you know. It's but we're getting a little bit better. We're getting a little bit better.
Yeah, we are. Well, I mean, so to go to Australia, and then how many years did you live in Australia for?
I think 3.
Wow.
3 or 4, then London, then Italy, then Asia, and then here.
Wow, what an amazing career you've had.
Yeah.
And you're so the right person to go out there and do these tours and help these children and teens and young adults with this, you know, suicide and self-respect and self-love. And I just love that you're doing that tour. It's just a really lovely thing.
Thank you. I said it like when I went home the first time to do the show, I was like, this is one of the main reasons I want to go home, to be able to do this. And it just took a little while to organize, but I started last year with it, and it was just, I had parents messaging and sending, you know, Facebook and all these bits and pieces, and more people were reaching out, and I was like, Jesus, we really have a massive issue here, and this really can help some people, you know.
Do you go to schools? What do you do?
Yeah, so I jump around. So what I do is I go and I host a dance class. I was having up to 200 people sometimes come to learn to dance, which was awesome.
How?
And then I go to the primary school or to the high school in the daytime, and then I do the class in the evening, and then I jump to the next city like that. So yeah, we had insane, amazing turnouts. Yeah, it was really fun. And you know, because my whole thing too is about dance. Like as you know, like you don't realize, like if I don't move for like a few days, when I'm home, you know, I don't dance as much because I'm, you know, working so much, you know, in the show and stuff. But like, you when you don't dance, like I'll be at the gym or something, and I have to just move, and I'm like, I haven't danced for a while, but because you know, the feeling is like, it makes you very, very happy, right? The endorphins and everything are really positive. And that's my other thing too, is like people are like, oh, but I don't dance, I can't dance. I'm like, no, mate, you have not been taught how to dance. I teach people for a living how to dance who don't dance. That's my specialty, man. That's my specialty.
Yeah.
How to get you going. I've taught people without legs, without arms, without ears. Like I've done everything and made people move and dance. And you know, and I try and say to them, like, trust me, you can bloody do it. And what was amazing was everyone that turned out in New Zealand to the classes and everything. A lot of them were first time dancers, you know, and they bloody came and they kicked ass and they learned something, and it was so much fun. And I was just really proud for Kiwis and back at home to come and take the class and do something totally out of their comfort zone, you know. They can be a bit reserved like that, you know. We can be a bit reserved.
Yeah. Really cool. Oh, I love that. Well, look at Niall DeMarco on Dancing with the Stars, who's deaf. Look how beautifully he danced on that show. That just blew me away when he was on the show.
Yeah, I worked a lot with Noah Galloway as well. He
yes, the athlete.
He had one arm and one leg, and I was with him the whole season. And he's actually was a huge inspiration for me that season. It was a roller coaster to say the least. We had to totally change how we danced because the leading arm is the left arm, which he had lost. So Shana